Good, and beginning on our bellies, taking a few deep breaths so that you can really feel the back of the body rising and falling. Nice. Taking a few deep breaths to remind yourself that you can take deep breaths. Good. Feeling yourself fully part of the inhale and part of the exhale. You are not separate from it. That you and your breath are one thing. And taking your time to acknowledge the contents of your day, maybe just for a moment or so. Noticing what that stokes within you, what that makes you feel like. And then just giving yourself that time, that space to be in stillness. Stepping away from all of that just for now.
Exit.
And let's take maybe another 10 to 15 deep breaths here on your belly, watching the back of your body rising and falling, rising again.
Jackson.
And last 3 deep breaths right here. Right, and then just tuck yourself back into your child's pose. And if you're going to use the music this evening, go ahead and start your playlist. Maybe you want to go music free tonight, and that's fine too. And allowing yourself the chance to really settle into your child's pose. And it could be with your knees really wide. It could be with your knees very close together, with your belly pressing into your knees. But whichever variation of child's pose you find, really allow your head to settle to the floor, the ground, and just rock your head from side to side. As you rock your head from side to side, let your eyes soften, let your jaw soften. Good. Maybe the next couple of exhales leave out of your mouth. These exhales, nice and easygoing. Right. And I just wanted to read to you this little quote that I found before class, and it's just so beautiful. It's so pretty. It's a Rilke quote. He wrote, "To make myself understood and to diminish the distance between us, I called out, 'I am an evening cloud too.' They stopped still, evidently taking a good look at me. Then they stretched towards me their fine, transparent, rosy wings. That is how evening clouds greet each other. They had recognized me." Good. Right, from here, let's move ourselves up onto hands and knees. And as you find your hands and knees, at first, let's just tuck the toes underneath. Right, and as you tuck your toes underneath, sit your hips back towards your heels, kind of press forward into your hands, and feel a nice stretch through the undersides of your toes, your toe hinge, that place where your toe meets the rest of your foot. And maybe you're rocking your hips side to side just a little bit here. Good, and then untuck those toes, and let's place the tops of the feet on the ground, sit back on the heels, and maybe this is where you stay. Maybe you want to stand up on the knees to take some of the pressure off the feet, or if you feel like a little balancing act, you might pull your knees up and away from the floor or the ground. Good, holding yourself here in this tiny little bit of an ankle stretch, or maybe it's huge, I don't know. We all have different ankles. And eventually go ahead and set those knees down. If they're lifted, hands come back to the floor, and let's extend that right leg back behind. And we're just gonna swing that right leg a little bit out to the side, back behind, and out to the side again. And as I do this, it's easier for me to come up onto my right fingertips and really ground down through the left palm. Just know that your hands can be anywhere they need to be here. They don't necessarily need to be right under your shoulders. Right, so just a little bit of this like swinging action, controlled swinging. Good, feeling the inner thigh really warming up, feeling the glutes warming up. One more breath. And then go ahead and set that right knee back down, and let's shift into puppy pose. So stretching those arms out long, let's drop the head down. Good, you might cross one ankle over the other and really root down through the tops of the feet. Good, just another couple breaths here. All right, and then let's come back up onto hands and knees and take a couple of cats and cows. Just a little bit of that spinal movement. Right, maybe you're jump roping with the spine here. Maybe you just want to drop the belly around the back. Good. Yeah, it could be this nice like hip dip from side to side. And massaging the knees on the ground. Good. But eventually let's come on back to that neutral like spine and extend that left leg nice and long behind. Good. And you might come up onto your left fingertips as you take these little swings. That left leg swinging out to the side, nice and long, and then back again. This can also be done with the knee bent if you prefer. The thought. Good, taking another, maybe like 5 breaths here. Good. All right, and then let's drop that left knee back down to the ground, shift the hips back towards the heels, and let's take a child's pose with the knees kind of close. Good, in your child's pose, listen for the sound of your breath. Know that you and your breath are the same. Good. Big breath in and a big breath out. Wonderful. And then let's come up onto hands and knees again. And this time, as you find hands and knees, turn the hands around so your fingertips point back towards your knees. Good. And see if you can kind of spread your fingers out as you do this so that they're nice and wide. There's space in between them. If it feels okay to bend the elbows and kind of drop the chest forward, you might do that a couple times. And as you do that, if you're going there, really think about using the muscles of your belly. Feel the muscles of the belly draw up and back as you begin to lower your chest down. Couple more breaths, perhaps. Good, and then we'll turn the hands around. As you inhale, raise that left hand up, reach nice and high, and then exhale. Go ahead and slide it underneath, thread the needle. Right, now go ahead, press down into that right hand, lift the left hand back up, run across those collarbones. As you exhale, set that left hand back down. From here, let's sit back on the heels. We're gonna take the hands and interlace them in front of the chest and then press the palms forward. Good, inhale, reach those arms up. And then just take this little bit of like a swing around here, this gentle swing. You have these little circles. And notice the connection of your heels to your sitting bones, or wherever your heels are. Good, a couple more breaths. Circles in the other direction too. Good, and then let's go ahead and release those arms down. We'll bring the hands back onto the ground in front of us. As you breathe in, raise that right arm up nice and high. Exhale, slide it underneath, thread the needle. And really let your head rest as you bring it down here. Really let your breathing be as full as it can be. Good, just 2 more breaths. Okay, press down into that left hand. Raise the right arm up nice and high. Good, breathe out, set that right hand down to the ground, down to the floor. Let's tuck those toes underneath. Pick up the knees just for a moment. And we're gonna do this little like shifting rocking motion. Like you're a little frog or something, or a grasshopper about to take off. Good, if this is a lot on the wrists, you can do this on forearms too. Even not quite moving into plank pose, but you might consider finding a little bit more length through the legs, straightening through the knees. Good, before eventually settling yourself back into downward dog. Good, and as you find your downward facing dog, let the head drop nice and heavy. As you inhale, raise your right leg up and back behind you, and then exhale to step your right foot in between your hands, and we'll drop that left knee down. Good, inhale, maybe the hands come up. Maybe the hands are at the hips. But just taking a moment here in this low lunge. Good, a big inhale here. And as you exhale, bring the hands back down to frame your right foot. Tuck the left toes and then spring yourself forward, standing forward fold. All right, here in your standing forward fold, just let your arms be loose and heavy and give yourself a big swing. You might widen your stance. Good, a couple more breaths of this big swing. Eventually you'll come all the way up to standing, reach your arms overhead, and take a really big stretch here. Good, a big exhale, fold forward over two long legs. Yeah, and then go ahead and step that right foot all the way to the back of your space. Let's drop the right knee down. Right, and the hands can be down here on the ground, or maybe up to the hips, or maybe you're lifting them way up. Good, a few more deep breaths here in this low lunge. Perfect, and then let's take those hands down to frame your left foot, tuck your right toes, shift it on back, downward dog. Good. You can choose to stay here in your downward dog. You could come down into a child's pose. Yeah, you might roll through like a high plank if you want to. Add some of those stronger movements into your practice this evening. Yeah, maybe find a little cobra or upward dog. Really giving yourself the chance to honor your own needs, right? Good, we will all meet in a child's pose. Good, and as you find that child's pose, rock your head side to side on the ground, make that connection. Let your shoulders relax and release a touch. We'll just take two more deep breaths here. Good, and before we move on to the moon salute on the other side, let's just kind of peel ourselves up and off of the ground. We're gonna come to stand up on the knees, take the hands to the lower back, broaden across the collarbones, and maybe the head drops back. Need a few moments here in this camel pose. Good, and then go ahead and just shift yourself back out. Extended child's pose, arms nice and long. As you inhale, slide the heart in between the hands, little low cobra pose. Good, and then exhale back, downward facing dog. Good, breathe in, lift that left leg up and back. And then exhale, step it in between your hands at the top. Let's drop that right knee down. And let's keep the right hand down for a moment here too. And we're gonna raise that left hand up. If it feels more comfortable for you to pick up that back knee, you're definitely welcome to. Yeah. Good, deep breath in. And as you exhale, circle that left hand down to the outside of the left foot. Let's tuck the right toes and kind of spring off, coming forward into your standing forward fold. Good, widen your stance a bit. And then take those big swings. Okay, maybe one of your knees bends and then the other. Good, eventually you'll swing yourself all the way up to standing. Reach those arms overhead, nice and wide, nice and long. Step your feet a little bit wider too. Deep breath in. And then exhale, bring the hands together at the heart. Fold yourself forward into almost like a little mini wide angle here. Good. As you inhale, halfway lift, and then either step or hop your feet together. And then from here, we're gonna step the left foot all the way to the back and drop that left knee down. So coming into your low lunge again. And here in the low lunge, keep your left hand down and reach that right arm up. Good, a deep breath in. A big exhale takes that right hand down to the outside of the right foot. Tuck your left toes underneath. Step back, downward dog. Good, and then your choice. Find your child's pose, which is where we'll all meet eventually. Maybe you want to roll through a vinyasa of your choice. Hands and knees for some cats and cows. Good. Yeah, deep breath in and a deep breath out. Eventually settling back into your child's pose, knees kind of close, arms out nice and long in front of you. Good, feel your forehead contact the floor, the backs of your hands, and let your head be heavy here for a few moments. The breath rising up into the back of your body. The exhale, letting you get a little bit more heavy and relaxed. Good, a deep breath in. And a big breath out. Good, stand up on your knees, float your arms up as you go there. Good, take your hands down to your lower back, broaden across the collarbones, take a look up, your camel pose. And maybe this camel pose is, of similar effort, or maybe you're easing back a little bit or going further. The choice is yours. Good, yeah, feeling the underside of your jaw get a little bit of space. And then as you exhale, really slowly, super mindfully, bringing yourself out of this and back into your extended child's pose. Good. Crawling those fingers forward. Good. As you breathe in, slide the heart through in between the hands. Take your lower, your higher up cobra. Nice. And then on back into downward facing dog. Beautiful. Acknowledge your breath again. Send that right leg up and back behind. Hold it high. Nice and squared with that left hip at first. But then open up through the right hip and maybe bend that right knee and point the knee up. Good. Pick up your head. Look over your left shoulder. See if you can peep a glance at that right foot. Great. And then let's step that right foot in between your hands slowly. Good. Let's breathe in. Raise those arms up and overhead. Take your high lunge. But then we're going to exhale and bring the elbows down and bring the hands down and just kind of like scoop everything up, rounding the back. And then raise those arms up, and we'll just move through these like spinal undulations a couple of times while standing up in your high lunge. Good. Taking those breaths, moving, noticing your balance this evening. Good. Eventually, we're just going to breathe in and take the hands down to the heart and stand here in the high lunge for a moment. Good, and then a twist of your choice. So maybe it's a prayer twist with your elbow to your knee, or maybe you want to drop the hand to the floor and raise that other hand up. Or yeah, the tall twist is nice too. Perfect. Good. And float yourself back through to your high lunge. Both arms lift up. Exhale, your hands come down to the ground. Frame your right foot. Standing leg lift. Left leg raises up nice and high here. Good, or it raises up wherever it lifts to. I don't think there's any real guideline for how high up that foot needs to go. Just take a little bit of time to feel that, that lightness through that leg. And it might mean that you bend that left knee a little bit and kind of point the toes up rather than lifting a straight left leg. Good. As you exhale, step the left foot down to the top of the mat. And we're going to widen our stance a little bit again here. And just take some of these swings again. But this time, lift your head up a little bit. So it's almost like you're in a halfway lift. You're really swinging those arms. You're letting those arms be loose. If you're in your house and you're hitting things, I'm sorry. Good, but then we're gonna swing all the way up and around, and then all the way up and around the other way. A couple times like this. Another breath or two. And this forward fold is going to feel so good. Fold yourself forward, let the head hang down. Good. Yeah, nice. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your palms down and step it back into a down dog. From here, you can touch the knees down, find your child. You can roll through a vinyasa. You can find hands and knees for cats and cows. Good. Perfect. Eventually, we'll all find that child's pose. We'll all remember our rest, the importance of it. Forehead touches down, but notice what else is touching down too. Notice the quality of your breath, the depth of it, and the speed of it. Perfect. Right, and one more breath here. Breath like relief. Exhale to release. Let's make our way back into downward facing dog. Good. Yeah, and from your downward facing dog, just take a moment to extend that left leg up and back behind you, keeping your hips kind of square here. You can open through the hip now, pointing your left knee high. Look past your right shoulder for your left hip. Good, and then let's take that left foot in between the hands at the top of the mat, or wherever you are. Hands can come to the hips here. You might raise those arms all the way up. Good, and then drop those elbows down, and we're just gonna kind of do those spinal undulations again. So circling those arms, rounding the back, puffing up the chest. Yeah, range of motion through the shoulders, but also the spine. Move slowly and kind of carefully here. Good, let's take those arms up and overhead. Inhale, hands together at the heart. And then your twist, maybe it's your prayer twist, elbow down to the knee, or your hand to the floor and the other hand reaching up. Good. Taking a moment to notice the depth of your breathing again, even in this twisted up shape. Good, and then go ahead and release. Bring your hands down to frame that left foot. Spring off of the right foot. Raise that right leg up. Standing leg lift. Good. Perfect. Another maybe 2 breaths here. Good, and then go ahead and set those feet down kind of wide. And one more time, we're gonna take those swings around. So the feet are wide, the arms are moving. Maybe you're looking up and forward. And taking those arms all the way up and around, coming down, going up and around the other direction. Let yourself breathe really big here. Just another 2 breaths. Good, forward fold. Your head hang really heavy here. Good, breathe in, lift up halfway. And then exhale, plant your palms down. Step it on back, downward dog. Good, and your choice. Take your child's pose. Lie down on your belly, take your vinyasa. Whatever suits you in this moment. Good. For these next, let's say 7 or 8 breaths, let's just focus on steadying ourselves, stilling ourselves, smoothing out that breath. Those big swings are a lot of work. Imagine that right now you're like a little stone. Right now you're heavy, touching the cool ground. And for right now, no work to do. Good. Another 4 big breaths. Good. All right. So from here, shifting yourself back either onto hands and knees or into downward facing dog. Good. And we're going to do a little bit of cloud salutation practice. So let's step our feet up to the top of the mat. And can everybody hear me? More or less? Yeah? Okay. Awesome. Good. I'll talk loudly. So we're going to practice some cloud salutes this evening, which I've really been loving because they feel really steadying and balancing. And it just begins with a simple breath, but you breathe sort of the opposite way that you're used to breathing. So let's exhale and reach those arms up and overhead. Bring your palms together. And then inhale and take the hands to the heart. Let's do that a few times. Exhale, hands come down and around, up and touch. Inhale, hands to heart. Exhale. Inhale, your hands come back down to the heart. 2 more. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, hands to the heart. Good, now we'll add on. So let's exhale, Circle those arms down, up, and around, palms touch. As you inhale, come onto that right foot. Bring the hands and the knee towards the heart. Exhale, circle those arms, begin to drop that foot down. Let your foot touch at the same time as your hands. Yeah, inhale, hands to heart, right knee lifts up. Exhale, circle down, begin to slowly lower that leg. Just moving side to side, inhale, hands to heart, left knee comes up. Exhale, hands come down, around and up, foot touches. And let's just move back and forth here. Maybe 3 more rounds. Good, 1 more round. The next time your left foot is down and you bring your right knee up, just stand here for a moment. Standing on your left foot. Good. Notice your sense of balance in your left foot. And then let's begin to send that right leg nice and long behind you for your warrior 3 kind of thing. Hands together at the heart, or maybe they reach out to the sides. Good. Okay, let's come back here, hands to the heart, right knee in towards the chest. And then let's hold onto that right knee and stand up nice and tall for a moment. Good. And then let's take the hands alongside the body, reach that right foot forward, hold that leg up. Yup. Hands to the heart. Let's drop that right foot down and fold ourselves forward. And maybe a little swing if you like that, or maybe you want stillness. Good. Inhale, bend the knees, come all the way up, reach nice and high. Hands together to the heart. Let's step the feet back towards each other. Good. Exhale, circle those arms, reach up, hands together. Inhale, hands to the heart. Few breaths like that. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. As you inhale this time, let's step on the left foot, bring that right knee up. Good, inhale. Bring the foot down, hands up. Exhale, left hand or left knee comes up, sorry, hands to the heart. And now let's stand here for a moment. And notice the sense of balance in your right foot. Good, shifting into your warrior 3. Don't be afraid to soften that right knee a little bit as you send that left leg behind you. Yeah, and if you want to touch on to something around you for balance, that's also totally awesome. Valid. Good, a few breaths here. Great, and then let's bring that left knee back in towards the heart, hands together. Standing up for a moment. Make a little basket for that left knee with your hands. Standing up tall. Yeah, and then send that left leg out long. And your hands can really do anything they need to be doing here to help you hold your balance. Sometimes I like to press my palms outward. Seems to help. Good, go ahead and step that left foot down. Oh, and a little swing. Some softness in the knees.
I like it.
And come all the way up again. Reach those arms nice and high. Take a big stretch. Hands together at the heart. Step the feet together. Good. If you want to go through a vinyasa here, you're welcome to. Maybe you are taking the arms up and folding forward, your halfway lift, your chaturanga. Maybe you want to stand in mountain. Yeah. Maybe you want to take some intuitive movement here. Eventually, we'll all be back up at the top of the mat, but you can get there in your own way. Nice. Good. When you make it back to the top of the mat, raise those arms up and overhead. Take a big stretch. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Take a big breath in. And now exhale, circle those arms. Reach them up, palms pressed together. Good. Let's breathe in. Take the hands together at the heart. That left knee lifts up. Exhale, drop that left foot down. Reach the hands up, bring them to touch. Inhale, stand on the left foot. Bring that right knee in. Hold this here for a moment. Stand up nice and tall. Feel those collarbones broad. Good, and then we're gonna take the hands around that right knee. And maybe that left hand stays there and the right hand reaches back, like this little bit of a twist. Good, if you wanna take it into the leg extension, that's a thought too. Maybe the strap comes in handy here. Good, but just spending a few moments doing this kind of weird, uncomfortable thing and trying to remain somewhat buoyant. Even if you're kind of unbalanced today, it's okay. Okay, balance is about balancing and coming back, right? Finding center again. Eventually, you're going to come back through. Take the hands together at the heart. And then exhale, drop the hand, lift those arms up, drop the foot, sorry. Exhale, fold yourself forward. And take a moment here in a nice, calm, standing forward fold. You might grab a hold of your big toes as you drop your head down. Good, and your choice, you can roll through a vinyasa. You can roll yourself up and stand in mountain pose for a little while. Just doing the thing that feels right. Do you want the movement? Do you want the stillness? Take 5 breaths or so, and eventually all meet back up in your mountain pose. Good, and then here in your mountain pose, exhale, circle those arms up and overhead, palms touch. Inhale, hands together, knee comes up, left knee to the chest this time. And stand here for just a moment. How does that feel? Maybe you want to make that little basket for your left knee with your hands as you stand up tall. Maybe you want to take your twist. Your right hand stays on your knee, your left hand reaches behind. Or yeah, even that extension, taking your right hand to the outside of the left foot or looping the strap as you reach that left leg forward. Good. Yeah, wherever you are is fine. Ah. Good, a few more breaths. And then coming out of this kind of slowly, woo, bringing that left knee up, hands to the heart. Exhale, drop the foot down, reach the arms up and overhead, palms touch. Inhale, hands to the heart. Exhale, dive forward. Get a little swing from side to side. You might even tug at your hair a little bit, the top of your head, just to relieve some scalp tension, some jaw tension. Good. And I have allotted us a good long time to wind down tonight. I want to give us a 6-minute shavasana. I feel that we need it, or at least I feel, yeah, right? yeah, for sure. After all that hard work, we need rest. We just need it. Right, so let's breathe in and lift up halfway here. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to the floor and step it on back into what might be your final downward dog. Good, noticing the weight of your head. Awesome. Good, and then from here, let's begin to roll forward into what will likely be our very last high plank. Good, holding this for a moment, recognizing your own strength. It's definitely in there. Good, go ahead, lower yourself down to the ground, make contact, and let that contact feel like relief as you turn your head over to one side or the other. Good, and then from your belly, actually let's turn our head so that the right cheek is facing down to the floor or the ground. Stretch that right arm back behind you so that your palm is facing down. Your right arm is sort of parallel with the rest, or I'm sorry, perpendicular to the rest of you. And then roll over so that you get a nice shoulder stretch here, rolling onto your right side. Good. As you roll over onto your right side, think about bending your knees and drawing them in towards your chest. Yeah, if your head and neck feel a little weird, it might be nice to place something underneath your head. Oh man, and so our arms are chock full of meridians and acupressure points. Notably, we've got our heart and our lung meridians in our arms, but also our triple heater, pericardium. Good. So taking a few deep breaths here into that right side of your chest, and the left side of your chest. Watching your breath come and go and knowing that it is you. But your breath is not a separate thing. Good. Big breath in through the nose. And then, like honey, beginning to roll yourself slowly on over to the other side, as if you're like a leaf curling up in the sun, maybe. Good, rolling yourself over. That left arm is stretched out nice and long. You broaden through those collarbones. Good. Yeah, and just adjust for comfort. So maybe both of your knees come in towards your chest to help support your lower back. Good, something under the head. Place your tongue just behind your upper teeth. And soften your jaw. Good. Couple more breaths. And in that same way that you rolled over onto this side, roll back onto your belly like honey. Good, and extend those arms out long past your head in a full pranam or this full prostration. And see if you can bring your palms together. Good, and then just like you're a little kid, just log roll on over onto your back. I've been a big fan of that recently. If your shoulders are like, no, I don't think so. Yeah, get there however feels best, for sure. And then let's take some twists on our back. And these can be however you need them to be. It could be both of your knees into your chest, dropping your knees over to one side, or maybe you want to have one of your legs out long. Maybe you want to cross your thighs one over the other as you drop your knees off to the side. Good. I'm just taking about, I don't know, maybe like a good 7 or 8 breaths on each side. Watching the way your breath moves your lower ribs. Seeing if you can detect the way your breath moves your vertebrae. Again, just allowing for the softening here. Good. When it feels like the right time, just begin to unwind yourself and make your way on over to the other side. There might be a little pause in the middle, or you might decide to just like roll yourself on out. Yeah, maybe there's a whole pose in the middle, a pose of your choosing. Use the chest or bridge. Once you make it on over to the other side, just for a few moments, see if you can be still. Noticing how even with most of your body still, there's definitely some movement there. Not just of your breathing, but also of the contents of your mind. And your mind, like the old metaphor of the clouds in the sky, right? All of the thoughts passing through. Each one of those thoughts like an evening cloud. Some more colorful than others, right? Some of them bigger and heavier looking than others. Yeah, but behind all of that, the brilliant blue sky. You're that blue sky too. Perfect, and at your own pace. Let's make our way into Shavasana, or whatever your final pose is tonight. Whatever you're feeling like. You know yourself best and what you need. Yeah, maybe it's legs up or shoulder stand for a moment or two. Maybe you want to find your belly again or curl up on your side. Yeah. Hooray. Good. And I just want to read you that Rilke quote again, which, it was so beautiful. It gave me chills when I first read it. He wrote, "To make myself understood and to diminish the distance between us, I called out, 'I'm an evening cloud too.' They stopped still, evidently taking a good look at me. Then they stretched towards me their fine, transparent, rosy wings. That is how evening clouds greet each other. They had recognized me." About a minute or so remaining. Just allowing your breathing to become kind of big. Maybe this breath is just slightly bigger than the last one. Maybe this next breath is slightly longer than the last one. And then allow these big breaths to turn into movement beyond your breathing apparatus, right? So maybe on your next big inhale, you begin to wiggle around a little bit, your fingers, your toes. Good, your wrists and ankles get a little bit of movement. Yeah, and your elbows and your knees and shoulders and hips. Waking yourself up one little bitty bit at a time. Perfect. Right, and eventually we'll all come to sit up and just kind of look at each other for a moment. Close out our practice. Yeah, you can get there in your own way. Awesome. And I had like the great pleasure of spending the day yesterday at Mohonk, which is this amazing, beautiful place in New York on the Shwangunk Ridge. And I actually got to sit and meditate at a lotus pond on top of a mountain. So it was like a miracle. It was so nice. And I just want to sit here in Lotus Mudra for a moment with all of you and just appreciate just whatever has arisen, the fruits of this practice. Sometimes the practice dredges us through the mud a little bit. Sometimes the practice brings us out of it. It's all part of it. Good. Lifting your heart up nice and high. This little cup in front of your heart. This little cup of your hands. Good. Broaden across those collarbones. Let yourself radiate some beauty and resilience here. Good, and when you feel good and ready, seal those palms together. Drop the head down towards your hands and your heart, honoring this practice and honoring each other too. Namaste. It's really good to see you all this evening. Yeah.